Hi, I'm Jim Plaga, Chair of the Philosophy Department at Virginia Tech. We philosophers consider Socrates to be a kind of original figure in Western philosophy. Socrates lived in ancient Athens around 400 BC, and so this afternoon we're going to pretend that we're back in ancient Athens and see Socrates and some of the people he talks with. Socrates had some great ideas, and he was interested in other people's ideas too. In fact, mostly he would try and draw out other people as to what they thought about certain philosophical subjects. Unfortunately, Socrates never wrote down any of his ideas or the conversations he had with other people. But he had a friend and a student, Plato, who was a little bit younger than him, who did write down some of the kinds of conversations Socrates had with people. Plato wrote about 24 what we call dialogues, and this afternoon what we're going to do is see excerpts from 2 of these dialogues. One called the Euthyphro, because Socrates is talking with Euthyphro, and the other called the Protagoras, because Socrates is talking with Protagoras. In these dialogues, Socrates draws his friends out about certain kinds of issues and argues with them about those issues, and we'll hear some of that. But sometimes it seems as though the people that talk with Socrates don't do such a good job at answering him or coming up with the best possible responses. Sometimes it seems like they just kind of go along with him. And so what I asked students in my philosophy class to do was to look at some of these passages and give better lines to the people that Socrates is talking with. Rewrite the dialogues a little bit so that Socrates has a worthy opponent. So this afternoon we'll hear excerpts from the Euthyphro and the Protagoras with some rewritten lines to make them a little bit more interesting.
In the Euthyphro, the main philosophical discussion is on piety. Is something pious because the gods believe in it, also known as the divine command theory of ethics, or do the gods believe in it because it is pious? In the Euthyphro, the original version, Euthyphro happens to switch his positions many times, never knowing what clearly is pious, what makes something pious. In our remake, we find that we forced Euthyphro to stick with the divine command theory of ethics. Euthyphro, in our remake, will say that piousness is such because the gods believe in it.
I would certainly say that the pious is what all the gods love, and the opposite, what all the gods dislike, is the impious.
Then let us again examine whether that is a sound statement. Or do we let it pass, and if one of us or someone else merely says that something is so, do we accept that it is so? Or should we examine what the speaker means?
We must examine it, but I certainly think that it is now a fine statement.
Well, we shall soon know better whether it is. Consider this. Is the pious being loved by the gods because it is pious? Or is it pious because it is being loved by the gods?
I don't know what you mean, Socrates.
I shall try to explain more clearly. We speak of something carried and something carrying, of something led and something leading, or something seen and something seeing. And do you understand that these things are all different from one another and how they differ?
I think I do.
Okay. So there is also something loved and a different thing loving.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Tell me then whether the thing carried is a carried thing because it is being carried or for some other reason.
Well, no, that's the very reason.
And the thing led is so because it is being led, and the thing seen because it is being seen? These things are not being affected because they are affected, but because they are being affected?
Yes, because they're resultant, not because they themselves are those things.
Is something loved either something changed or something affected by something?
Yeah, I think so.
So it is in the same case as the things we just mentioned. It is not being loved by those who love it because it is something loved, but it is something loved because it is being loved by them.
Necessarily.
What do we say then about the pious, Euthyphro? Surely that it is being loved by all the gods, according to what you say?
Yes.
Is it being loved because it is pious or for some other reason?
No, it's pious because it is being loved.
So what is pious solely because the gods love it?
Yes.
That which is pious is not pious because it is itself pious?
Right. I believe we've reached a good statement. What is pious is solely pious because the gods love it.
Oh, we shall see. As we've agreed before, we must both investigate the speaker.
Certainly.
So, Euthyphro, how do we earn the gods' love?
Well, Socrates, by offering prayer, reverence, and tributes.
So, we participate in a kind of bartering relationship with the gods?
Now, I wish you wouldn't call it that, Socrates. Please explain.
Well, a doctor, for example, would surely provide for a fee some advantage to his client's body. The currency he receives would aid him, and the bodily advantage would aid the patient, right?
That sounds accurate, yeah.
How then would the gods benefit from our currency, the tributes and such, and how do we benefit from giving them these things?
Well, if we accept, as all good Athenians do, that giving prayer, tributes, and reverence to the gods is how we earn their love, as proven by countless acts in the divine poet, in the Iliad and the Odyssey, and what the gods love is pious because they love it, what further reasoning do we need, Socrates? It does not matter whether we aid the gods with our endeavors or waste their time. So long as we do what they all command, which earns their love, we are pious. For example, all gods declare we must be hospitable. Note in Odysseus travels home how he not only stabbed Polyphemus in the eye, but he did so after entering his lair without permission and consuming his goods. Had he respected the rights of hospitality, as every pious man does, as every good Athenian does, he may not have been victimized by the Cyclops because he would not have been contemptible at all for intrusion and inappropriate conduct, nor may he have encountered the Cyclops at all. No, no. In his thirst for glory, he encountered the Cyclops in his cave without permission, and he ate and drank wrongly there. See here, Socrates, Odysseus broke an important tenet, which is surely why loving Athena could not aid him then. Socrates, there was no contemplation or reasoning there. It's simply following a kind of mandate. There is only what the gods love and what they don't. Based upon what we said, which to all good Athenians should agree, this is the realm of piety.
Very well said, Euthyphro. You've answered exactly how I desired. However, there is a problem of potential magnitude that might challenge your conclusion.
What might that be?
Well, the source of our knowledge concerning the gods seems questionable. How is it exactly that we know the gods have given us these commands? Furthermore, is Homer someone we should place our entire faith in?
Socrates, you don't sound pious at all. What's the court going to say?
Well, I don't know, but I shall find out shortly.